today's introduction to Android Study Jams. Uh, Welcome to the first session of Android Study Jams. I am Prasad Thakre from third year Computer Engineering, and I'm the facilitator for this campaign. As this is our first session, let me introduce you to what all we are having in store for you guys. So let's begin. Smartphones have brought about a digital revolution in this era of technology. More consumers are using smartphones for different purposes than ever before. So this so with increased demand in Android smartphones, there comes the need for Android developers. So here we are. If you wish to learn Android development or build a career in it, these study jams are just for you. Moving over to the next slide. Uh, what are Android study jams? So they are community organized study groups for people to learn how to build Android apps using an online training course. This is very much similar to the 30 days of Google Cloud program that we had. Just that this time the registration would be very easier. You just need to go through the course and collect all the badges. So why learn Kotlin? Well, in comparison to Java, Kotlin has a simpler syntax and is much more beginner friendly. It solves problem in fewer lines of code and enables changes in the code effectively, which makes code maintenance easier. In Java, we have something known as a null pointer exception. Null is basically something that doesn't hold any value. And on that null, if I perform any operator, it will throw a null pointer error. So this problem is something that we overcome in Kotlin. Another advantage of Kotlin is that it is fully interoperable with Java. That is, if I have a Java and a Kotlin file, both files can exchange data with each other and work together. So on Play Store, you may come across many apps that are partially built in Java and partially in Kotlin. So in today's study jam, we are going to be introduced to Kotlin only. We won't be starting with Android development just yet. We would be only diving into the basics of Kotlin. So where can you run Kotlin? You can run Kotlin on any laptop and use that to run the code. So what all equipments you need for these study jams? You need nothing but a laptop with Android Studio installed on it. You can install the Android Studio later, as today we will only be doing the Kotlin part, basics of Kotlin. You will need internet connection and preferably an Android device and a USB cable. So let's have a look at the course now. Hmm. So is my complete screen visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the course that we are going to explore in these study jams. So this course consists of 6 units. So this is unit 1, unit 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. After completion of each unit, you will get a certain number of badges. For example, if I complete unit 1, this unit has some number of pathways, and after completion of each pathway, you get a badge. And if we look at the pathway, this each pathway has a mixture of videos as well as code jams, as well as code labs. And after actually going through each one of them, you can see these videos and do the code labs. After completion of all these videos and code labs, you can take the quiz. And once you qualify this quiz, you will get a badge. So this is how you collect a badge. So based on these units, we will be holding about 1 to 2 jams each week, in which we will be building a news app that consists of all the features that are given in the course. More details on which app we will be building, it will be given towards the end. And apart from this, we are also conducting an intra-college competition where we will release some problem statements, and based on those statements, you have to create an app in Kotlin. So it has to be a 2 to 3 pager app, and we will be selecting one best app and promoting it on our handles. Further, we will be sending it to Google, where if it gets shortlisted, it will be acknowledged and promoted by them. So more info about this competition will be given after this study jam. How will we track your progress? After 10th Jan, we will be circulating a form wherein you have to share your developer's profile. So what is developer's profile? As you know, these are the units. And if I click here, so every person that is doing these units will have a developer's profile, and it will have a list of all the badges that he or she has collected. You have to make this profile public and share it with us. Share this link with us in the form. So this will be done towards the end of this study jam. And regarding the app submission, I'll provide more details of it in a proper, more better format in a document. But just I'll give you the deadline. That is, we will be starting to accept the app submissions from the 3rd till the 7th of Jan. And on the 8th of Jan, we'll be declaring the winners. So we encourage everyone to start these courses and not actually wait for us to explain it in the study jam. So thank you so much for attending. Now I pass on the mic to Priya, who will be starting with the basics of Kotlin. So Priya, are you there?
Yeah, hi. Just a second, I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
So I hope my screen is visible now. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So I'll be basically starting with the basics of Kotlin, how you will start a language like hello world, the variables, the data types, the basic loops, and conditional statements. So that's what we'll be covering right now. And so the first and foremost thing is, where could you run the programs along with me? Like if you want to go ahead and code along with me, where can you run it? So there is a website called Kotlin Playground. I'll just link it there in the website, in the chat box. I'll put the website. So if you want to, run your Kotlin code right now, like there are IDs available, but I think we'll get to that later on. Prasad will be explaining what ID you can use. So for right now, you can use this website to run the code. Yeah. So the next part is, of course, Hello World. We always have to start with the Hello World program. So basically, the entry in Hello World starts with a main function as shown here. I'm sorry. It starts with the main function, and you have a print line function, which is a println function, where you can just put in whatever string you want and it will print. So now there are two different print functions. There is just a normal print function and there is a println function. So print function just prints everything on the same line. Println will print it on a different line for you. So that's the basic difference. And main is where the main entry point of your function, like main entry point of your Kotlin code. So if you just come here, and as I said, like this is the basic Hello World program. And to run your code, like this is the Kotlin playground that I mentioned in the previous slide. So if you just want to run your function, you can click here and it will run it for you. And as I said, there is a normal print function as well, which allows you to print. Yeah, so it will basically do the same thing, but now if you have another print statement here, it will print it on the same line instead of printing it on two separate lines. But if you used println, it will print both the statements in two different lines. So that's basic difference between both the functions. And yeah, so now the next part would be, of course, the data types. What data types that you have to store, the data. So there are like basic that we have int, char, and string for in every language. I think we have. So int, I mean, there are different types of data types that you can use to store a integer variable. So we have int, we have long, we have short, and we have byte. So all of these four kinds, byte, short, long, and int, they are used to store integer data. So there is a difference. Byte is the smallest, like I think it has up till 127. So it's like if you are familiar with C++, you would know what it is, int, long, 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 and it's similar to that. So it just depends on what is the maximum number you can store, what is the maximum allotted space it has. So byte, short, long, and int is all used to store integer data. We generally just stick with the integer data, int data type, unless we have something, a very huge number. Then character, char is just to store a normal character. String is an entire string. Float and double is to store your decimal kind of numbers. And then of course we have Boolean, which is true and false. So these are the basic data types that we have in Kotlin. And how would you define the variables? Now we know about the data types. How will you define the variables? So there are two different ways in which you can, define the variables in Kotlin. One is var and one is val. So the difference between two is one is mutable and the other is immutable. What is the difference? Mutable means once you have assigned, you can actually reassign the variable. And in immutable, you can only assign it once. So we'll just, see it in a code, like in a running example. For example, now if you want to declare a variable, say x. So if you go for var is the mutable data type. So if you just go for var x and you say is equals to 10. So now here, and I'm sorry. And now if you want to assign it again, let's say you want to say 20 after writing some code here, you can do that. Okay, so like once you've assigned x to something, you can again reassign it on some other line. But if I was to make it, if I was to make this to val, and if I said, val x is equals to 10, and if I do the same thing here, this actually won't run. It will show, it will throw an error. It doesn't really show here because it doesn't support, I think. But yeah, so val cannot be reassigned. It gives us an error. Same thing if you were to do it with var, it won't give any error. It just runs perfectly fine. And if you just, yeah. I hope that was clear. If there's any doubt, you can ask. So these are the two different ways. And now coming how to define it with the data type. Like here, the compiler understands that x is an integer variable, but if you want to explicitly mention what kind of data you're going to store in it, you put a semicolon. You put a colon, and then you just maintain the data type that you want. So this just means that x is an integer variable. So now if you try to assign string, obviously it won't happen. It will just give you an error. Yeah, so type mismatch. So for it to be a string, you will have to mention string here. That is how you specify the type of data. Now here you don't really need to do that, because even if you don't mention it, it does know, it knows that it has to interpret the hello as a string. But if you're not really going to just assign the value there, you are not going to initialize the variable, it is nice to have mentioned it with the data type. Now coming to functions, now that we've declared variables, I hope there's no doubt with that, how to declare variables. If there is, you can put it in the chat box. I will be checking the chat box. So the next part is of course functions. Just as we've already seen the main function, we define a function starting with fun, the keyword fun, followed by the function name. So the main is the reserved function name as the entry point, so we don't use that. Now if you just want to create another function, you just use the keyword fun followed by the function name, round brackets, and then curly braces, and then you just put on the statements that you want. So we'll see an examples. Like these are the three different examples. So yeah, we have function say hello. It just prints hello. Now there is another function here, but it has a parameter. So this argument here, name string, we've just given name is the name of the argument and string is the type. So here, this might be a little confusing, the println hello, this name. What Kotlin does is it provides us an option to format your string. Like what you generally do is, suppose you have a variable name. If this is your name, and if you want to just print hello Priya or something like that, so what you would essentially do is you can print it like this, hello, and then you can put a plus sign, you can concatenate strings like this, and you can say print hello and then the name. So what this will do is it will print hello Priya. Okay, I did not give a space there, but yeah. But what if instead of doing this, Kotlin provides us with a tool. You can actually format strings where when you use a dollar and the name of the variable, you can actually tell Kotlin, I want the name to be put here. Like I don't want to use plus sign to concatenate. Just format the string like this. Enter my name here. So when I do that, it will print Priya. I hope that's clear. Just yes or no, like the formatting of string is
Even if there is a integer value or anything, it will print.
yeah, anything. We can try that. See, if I was to say and if I were to say number, it will print the number. Yeah. So it will work with any data type. That's not an issue. And like it should be formatable to string. If yeah. So I hope that was clear, Sachit.
Yes.
Yeah. So moving on. The next part is, as I said, like add two numbers. You can even return the sum. Here I've just printed, and if you want to return the sum, you want to just return x plus y. That would be done in this manner. Let's just define a function here. Like if you want to say add two numbers, and you are just saying x, you need to give the data type here, y and int, and you just want to return what you want to return x plus y. Now here, as you haven't really specified the return type of the function, this will essentially give you an error. So if we just tried, if we just removed all of this and we called if you just try to call this function, this will essentially give you an error because you haven't specified the return type, and it actually doesn't interpret the return type on its own. So yeah, so it is a type mismatch. Invert type is unit. So what essentially it does is, like when you don't define, when you don't mention, implicitly mention the return type of a function, it interprets is as the unit return type. Now unit is similar to void in Java. If you work with Java or C++ or any language, when you have the void return type, unit is similar to that. It is analogous to that. So here you have to explicitly specify what you want. So when you put int here, now it specifies that the return type of the function is int, and now it won't give you an error. It will provide you with an answer. Yeah. Any confusion here? If you don't if you don't mention the return type, it will be interpreted as unit, which is similar to void in Java or C++. And void means it doesn't return anything. That is what it is expecting, nothing to be returned. I hope that was clear. So moving on. So these were the different types of functions that you could define. And yeah, so the next part is conditionals in Kotlin. This will be used a lot when you're making apps and stuff like that. So moving on, this will be really helpful. So coming to conditionals, like in every language, we have if, else if, and those kind of conditions. So I think most of you might already be familiar with if else conditions. And this is just a normal, I think every language almost has the same syntax. At least if you're coming from Java or C++ background, this might be similar. So it is, if you provide a condition, and how will the condition be defined? So for condition, you used, these relational operators. Like there are a lot of different operators. So the relational operators would be these equality operators, that is, double equals to this exclamation mark, and then equal to is a not equal to. So these, and then the comparison operators, these will be, used. These are called as relational operators, and you can use them for defining conditions here. So that is the basic structure. Yeah, I think we can see an example, like if we can see just a quick example of how to do that. We don't really need the function now. So we can just get rid of that. So, just basic if else structure. If you have, let's say, if you have number 5, and you just want to see if it's, even or odd, what you will just do is if, or you just want to check whether the number is greater than 4 or not. So if the number is greater than 4, you will print something. Let's just say greater than 4 or something like that. And then else, like if it is not greater, it is going to be less. So we just do that. So basically, this is just, you have if, like as we saw in the PPT slide, that you have if followed by a condition. Now this is a condition, and as we saw, we have 2 operands, and this is the relational operator. So we have many relational operators, and if this condition is not satisfied, go to this part, go to this block, and just do that. So yeah, so it is greater than 4, so it will print. Now, how else can we use if else statements? Like this is used, but there is another way that you can use it as an expression for take an example, like you have a variable and you want to assign some data to it, but you want to do it conditionally. Like let's say just in the previous example that we saw, you have the number 5 and you just want to check whether it's greater than 4 or not. So when you're doing that, you don't directly want to print it. You just want to store it as a Boolean. Okay, if it is greater, then store, then store true. If it is not, then store false. That is what you want to do. You just don't want to, not exactly ternary, but yeah, it is similar to that. So, you can put it in one line in assigning part. I'll show you an example here in the playground again. So, as I said here, you don't want to print anything. Let's say you want to store it in this, let's say you want to store it in this variable. How will you do that? This will be a Boolean, by the way. So Boolean is basically, a true or a false. It can only have 2 values, true or false. So let's say you want to store it in this. You don't want to print anything. What you can do is you can actually do this. So you can put an equal to sign. And this is what you can do. You can put an if statement for expression, like for assignment. If number greater than 4, then just put true. I think it's lowercase true. Yeah. Else false. So this is actually a valid statement in Kotlin. So if you do this, it will assign true. This is what will be returned. It will assign true to greater or not if the number is greater than 4, or it will return 4. So now if I just print, yeah, so it prints true. So this might be confusion, how you can use it as an expression. If there is any doubt, you can let me know right now. Okay, samjha ki nahi samjha how it is working. So if this is true, this piece of code is returned. If it is false, this piece of code is returned. If you just want to make it a string as well, you can do that. So you can just say, greater, and you can go as not greater. So even this will work. So it just says, that if the number is greater than 4, assign this string to this variable, otherwise assign this string. I hope that was clear. This is how you use if-else statement as an expression. I think this is a confusing part, so just a yes or no would be helpful in the chat. Yep. Okay. So the next part is, I think, this is almost always like after we go to if-else statements, we go to when statements or switch case in C++. If you have a very long if-else ladder, you have if, then else if, and then else if again, and then you have a very long ladder. So instead, you can write a when statement, which is a cleaner code. It is similar to switch case in C++. If you have worked in C++, if you haven't, that's okay. So yeah, this could have been the same code that is written right here, right now in front of you, could have been written, you will just say if x is equals to 1, print ln 1. Else if x is equals to 2, print this 2. So, it would have been a really long code. This is, I think, cleaner code to look at. So that is when you use, when statements. So yeah, this is the basic structure. Now this else here. So what else does is, if it is similar to default in switch case in C++. So what else does is, if none of the upper matches has none of the upper cases match, you just do this, like number not recognized. So what is done here is, when you enter the when statement, you have this variable x. So what this x means, that whatever you provided in the brackets of the when statement is just says that, use this variable to match the cases. So what are the cases here? This 1, 2, and 3. So what the when statement will do, what Kotlin will do is, it will check that whether x is equals to 1. If x is equals to 1, it will execute that step and then end the program, and just break there. And if x is equals to 2, x is equals to 3. Now else, if x is not equal to 1, 2, or 3, it will just print, it will go to the else statement, and it will print that number is not recognized. Is there any confusion with the when statement? So the numbers right here, that the 1, 2, 3, it could have been a string, but since our variable type of x is an int, that is why we have 1, 2, 3. But it could have been a string as well, so that there is no restriction on that. Was that clear? Okay, yeah. So now, you might want to have a range, like, you just want, for some reason, you want a list of numbers, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, instead of hard coding it on your own or using a for loop, to just append it and something like that, you actually have this, to or down to keywords or operators in Kotlin that lets you, that allows you to provide a progression, like what the progression of 1 to 10, all the numbers included in a variable without you having to, write a lot of code. So what this generally does is, like the, double dot operator that you see, what it will do is, it will create a progression, like the type is progression, and it will give you x will be a progression consisting of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Similarly, down to will start from 10 and it will go until 1. So I think we will run it once to, to get a gist of how it is done. It is similar to ranges in Python. It just gives you all the values, from start to an endpoint. That is what is essentially done here. So we'll just try and print, what is given here. So if we just say val x equals to, if we just do this, and why is this happening? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we'll come back to it when we do for loops. Without that, I don't think you can print that. Just a second. You can't really see the data type. Okay, so I'll actually come back to that when we do for loops to see the data type. It is a progression. It does give you values from 1 to 10, but you can't really see it because I don't think it's serializable. So we will come to that in the future when we come to loops. So this is essentially just remember that it gives you a collection of values that start from a start point up till a end point. That is what down to and the double dot operator does. So yeah, now we'll actually try to use those ranges here. So basically we have loops, like if you just have a lot of items and you have a long list and you want to print all of them, or you want to do some task on all of the values present in the list, you iterate through the collection, and that is what for loop is used for. So I think we'll just directly start with examples and then we'll go through it. As I said, with ranges was a similar thing. Ranges is the thing that we just saw here, 1 double dot 10 or 10 down to 1. These are the ranges, and for loops actually work on those. So that is what we'll try. So we already have a range here, that is x, that goes from 1 to 10. So what we can do here is, like, the for loop syntax is first you have the for, and then you have two round braces. So what you can do is you just have a variable names, say I, and then you can say in uh, it in, and you want a range. So you can do it, you can write x here, so it does you can see the data type of x is in range. So what it does is, for each it would basically give you each element, for each element in this range, do this. So if we can just directly, so what essentially this will do is it will print each and every element in that int range. Yeah. So if as you can see, it just prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you could have written, you don't really need to assign it to a variable first. You could have done it like this as well. So this will essentially print from 1 to 5. And you can do the same thing with the down to operator as well. I hope that was clear, because this is a little tricky. Like, I think down to and the double dot operators are very uncommon in other languages. It is not really, I don't think it is available in C++ nor in Java. So this is something that you have different in Kotlin. And the other method of defining for loops is essentially if you have a list. So we haven't really discussed how we define list in Kotlin, but I would still go ahead. I think we will be coming to that later on. But for right now, so this is essentially a list. The list of will give you, a list of 1, 2, and 3. And the same way you can do with list. So we haven't really gone to list again. I'm mentioning that, but yeah, I think that will be covered later on. Okay, sorry. So yeah, this is a list of operator basically gives you a list. Now there are two different kinds of list of operators. There is a mutable and immutable type. Like you can't really add to this list anymore. Immutable is basically, as we went through it before, that it is read only. And now that this list of 1 2 3 is created, you cannot add any more elements. If you want to create a mutable list, I think there's a function called mutable list of, that is what is used. So there are collections, similar, like just like you have collections in Java, you have these kind of list of mutable list of, mutable array of in Kotlin. And you can do the same thing with list as we did it in range. Like this could have been 1 to 5, or you can iterate 2 elements in a list. This list of could have been strings as well. Like you could have made this into a string and it would have worked perfectly fine. The same way, you can create lists of any type of string, int, anything, and then you can print it like that. Yeah. And I think one more thing, there is different in Kotlin, is the break and continue with labels. Now, what essentially labels are? So here, for example, I'll just remove this code. So let's say you have list of some numbers 1 2 3 4 and 5. This is a list of, as I mentioned, it will just give you a list of the numbers 1 2 3 4 5. And if you want to do something on each of them, we could use for loop. And there is actually a function called dot for each that we can use here, and then you can give it a function that you want to work on. So now what you can do here is you can give it a label. So what essentially the label will do is, I think if you have worked in goto statements in C++, you will have an idea of what it is. It is similar to that, not exactly the same thing, but it is similar to that. For example, you can say, you can define a label. Let's say you just want the label to be as, some label is what you want to name your label to. And then you put an @ symbol. So this, now you defined this block of statement with this label. It is known as some label. So now this block of statement, the list of for each, this for each is now defined by this label, some label at. This is a confusing part, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. इसमें डाउट है तो पूछो, because this label thing is really new. I think not all the languages have these kind of features. This is going to be new. Okay, I think no doubts there. So what you can do here is, now if you want to say कि I want to print all these numbers 1 2 3 4 5, but I just don't want to print 3. मेरे को 3 नहीं चाहिए. I just want to print 1 2 4 and 5. So what here you can do is, like, you will print you can just put if I, sorry, yeah, Sneha.
Actually, people are writing in the chat box that to repeat, and I also wanted to say the same.
I actually can't really hear you. If anybody else can, please.
Priya, can you please cover labels again?
Yeah, okay. So labels is basically, if you want to go back to a particular line of code. So, you can define it as a label. You can, like, if you want to go back to a particular block of code, you can define it by a label. Okay, if I say return to this label, it just defines, like, now this for each block of code that you can see, this for each is essentially a function that will, whatever function you give, for each here, it will be applied to every element of the list. So what you are saying is, you are giving it a label, some label. I've just named it some label. It could have been anything. I am telling it now, this for each block of statement has been defined by this label, some label. So whenever I say, I will explain this IT also, why I used IT in some time. We'll first do the label. So if I say, okay, I don't want to print 3. If I say if IT is equals to 3, return at some level. This is what I'm saying. So what this will do is, or otherwise I want to print the IT. So now IT is basically provided by this for each. I'll just cover the IT part. So IT is provided by this for each. It just says, IT is this every element in the field. So it just names the variable as IT, like every element for each provides this in the form of IT. So IT is every element. Okay. Yeah, Tejas, did you understand where IT is defined? What exactly IT is? IT is basically provided to you by for each function, which is a function of the list class, and what it does is, what it will do is it will provide you every element in IT. Like at every iteration of for each, in the first iteration, IT will be equal to 1, and then it moves ahead. So the for each again, it will give you 2 in the form in the variable IT, and then 3 as IT, 4 as IT, and then 5 as IT. I hope that was clear where IT is coming from. It is essentially the default name given by for each. You can change it, but I think we can do that later. That's not really important here. So now what this thing is done, we have continuous statements. I hope you guys all know what continuous statements are. So continuous statements basically says, you just don't want to break the loop right now, but I don't want to go ahead with anything. Just go back to the loop and continue with the next iteration. That is what continuous statements in Java and C++ mean, if you guys have worked in Java and C++. So this return at some label, that is what is is telling it कि अगर ऐसा आया कि if it is equal to 3, whenever this element is come across, क्या करो, go back to this block of code है. समझा क्या? कंटिन्यू स्टेटमेंट में क्या होता है, you come to a variable, you don't really want to work on it, so you just say कि continue. So what it does, it goes back to the for loop का statement, and जो भी next iteration है उस पे work करता है. So similarly this return at some label, it just tells it कि I don't really want to do आगे का कुछ भी code, go to this label, wherever this block of code is defined as label, go back to that piece of code. Was the labels वाला part clear? Labels अब समझा क्या कि I'll try a little bit more. सिर्फ पीयूष को समझा या बाकी लोगों को भी समझा? Yeah, so that is how you can say okay, go back to this label. It could have been now, like we'll just run it once and we'll see. Okay, oh sorry, I am so sorry. Yeah, return के बाद space मत डालना please. Yeah, so now that you see कि 3 पे it didn't really print this, it went to the next iteration. Like you saw it running, return के बाद don't put a space, otherwise it will give you an error. So it could have been, you could have put p greater than help. So this will just put 1, 2, 3. Like it doesn't really make sense. फिर तुम उधर तक ही list डालो. But then this is just an example. कि अगर if I do it like this, so it will just print 1, 2, 3, and उसके बाद it just goes to the next loop. So अगर मैंने यहाँ पे 2 या 1 डाला वापस, so it won't print this 4 and 5. It will print 2 and 1 because it goes to the next iteration. I hope that was clear. The return at label is similar to continuous statements in Java and C++. Yeah, it is kind of like goto in C++. Yes, Josh. Yes, it is similar to break statements in continue. It is similar to continuous statement found in other languages. There is a similar way to define break statement for a loop using the labels. I think if it's not too complex right now, we can go into that. I think we can cover that. It's not really difficult though. I think we can take that. So imagine you have this loop. So what we'll do, we'll take an example of break statement as well. We'll just leave this thing here, comment it out. So say you want to use a break statement for a loop. So now what the loop will be doing is, we'll first create a label. अभी for loop चलो ठीक है, ऐसा है कि IT in 1 to 10, I am printing all of these statements. But what I want to do is, अगर if at any point I encounter 5 ना, मुझे उसके आगे जाना ही नहीं, I want to break. So if at any point id is equals to 5, now I don't want to work, I just want to break. So बाकी languages में what you will do, you just add a break statement. अभी यहाँ पे Kotlin में what you will do is ना, you need to tell it कि कौन सा block of code, कौन सा expression तुम्हें ये करना है, break करना है. So what you can do here is now, like if you have multiple loops, nested loops, so ये break at label becomes very handy, because then you can just end the, all the nested loops in just one statement. We'll go to that, ज़्यादा complex नहीं है, पहले ये एक देख लेते हैं. So if I just define it, this is how you will define a label for loop, by the way. यहाँ पे ऐसा था, but then इसके लिए ऐसा होगा. So what here I'll do is I'll just say कि break this loop. कि ये जो लेबल है ना उसको ब्रेक कर दो. सो नाउ व्हाट दिस ब्रेक एट लूप मींस कि ये जो एक्सप्रेशन डिफाइंड बाय लूप है ना, लूप लेबल से जो भी एक्सप्रेशन डिफाइंड है ना उसको ब्रेक कर दो, उस लूप को ब्रेक कर दो. Is that clear though? Like we will run. So this is how we will define a break statement. We will see it in a nested loop as well. तो तुम लोग को इसका ज्यादा समझेगा यूज केस क्या है, क्यों ऐसा बनाया है, and just not directly break. So when you run this thing ना, you see कि वो 1 2 3 4 तक ही प्रिंट हुआ, because 5 में हमने लूप पे ब्रेक लगा दिया. ठीक है. Now if you have a nested statement, समझो तुम्हारे पास ऐसा था. Okay, if you have two for loops, like you have I in 1 to 10, and then you have for j in 1 to 10. ठीक है. इफ यू हैव समथिंग सिमिलर, एंड यहाँ पे अगर आई और जे का वैल्यू कुछ हो गया ना, तो व्हेन यू अप्लाई नॉर्मल लैंग्वेजेस में, व्हेन यू जस्ट अप्लाई लाइक C++, इफ यू वर्कड इन जावा, इफ यू वर्कड इन, when you execute a break statement, it will just execute this inner break. Like अगर इसके अंदर कहीं पे भी break है ना, so it will just break this statement, it won't break this loop. This loop will continue running, and then essentially obviously it will come back to this for loop. So what if you want to break the entire, you want to break both the loops? At that point तुम go to statements labels use कर सकते हो. So if you just define loop at यहाँ पे, so if you say कि ये जो expression है ना, ये पूरा expression starting from for is defined by this label, at that point you can break it with this, or you can break both the loops with this code. If you want to say कि if at any point I और j का value 2 हो गया, if I is equals to 2 हो गया, then you want to break if I is equals to 2 हो गया, and if j is equals to 2 हो गया, at this point now you want to break both the loops, not just the inner loop, you want to break the upper loop as well. So what you can do is you can just take a break at loop. So what it will do is it will break this loop and not just this loop. अगर normal languages में सिर्फ break statement होता, inner loop break होता, ऊपर का loop अभी भी चल रहा होता. And now you can just print I and j whatever you want. So here you will see कहीं पे भी 2 2 वाला है ही नहीं, तो 1 1 1 2 1 3 सब प्रिंट हुआ, 2 1 हुआ, एंड 2 2 हुआ ही नहीं. 2 2 हुआ, वहां पे हमने पूरा लूप ही ब्रेक कर दिया. अभी अगर मैंने ये स्टेटमेंट यहाँ से हटा के, इफ आई वुड डिफाइन नॉट दिस एक्सप्रेशन बट दिस एक्सप्रेशन एज द लेबल, ये एक्सप्रेशन को ये लेबल से डिफाइन किया, So if I'm so sorry about that, but if you define this for loop by this label, what it would do is कि now that you break this loop ना, so this upper for loop will go on. तो ठीक है, at this value के I and j 2 हुआ ना, it will go on. बट नाउ दैट यू रन इट ना, यू विल सी कि सिर्फ अंदर का लूप ब्रेक हुआ, कि यहाँ पे हमारा क्या हो रहा था, 2-1 के बाद ऊपर का भी लूप ब्रेक हो गया था, अंदर वाला लूप भी ब्रेक हो गया था. बट नाउ हियर यू कैन सी 2-2 वाला लूप ब्रेक हुआ, सिर्फ अंदर वाला लूप ब्रेक हुआ, बट देन व्हेन I is equals to 3 से इट वाज रनिंग ऑल ओवर अगेन. I hope that was helpful. थोड़ा बीच में I think ये हुआ था. समझा क्या how exactly to use it and what a label is? Yeah. नहीं समझा तो अभी पूछ लो, because इसके बाद there is very little left. This I think is the most difficult part. This was the most confusing part that we've already covered. इसके आगे similar to everything that you've done before as well. So we've seen all three examples of the for loop, you know, with ranges, with list, and we've also seen break and continue with labels. So now the next part is, you know, we'll just have a little question, क्योंकि ये थोड़ा नया था for loops था. This doesn't really have अपना ये क्या बोलते हैं any labels, but you'll understand कि यहाँ पे सिर्फ एक break statement है तो क्या होता है. So just let me know, comments में डालो. मैं ये 2 मिनट के लिए रखती हूँ स्क्रीन, रन करके मत देखो, थोड़ा खुद से you know मैनुअल ड्राई रन करके सोचो कि क्या होगा आउटपुट इसका. So we'll just know कि समझा के नहीं. कर रहे हो ना, सॉल्व करो, लाइक थोड़ा सोचो कि क्या होगा आंसर. हाँ, yep, बी होगा, बिकॉज द ब्रेक स्टेटमेंट ओनली ब्रेक्स दिस पार्ट ऑफ द फॉर लूप, फिर उसके आगे का चलता जाएगा. बट इफ द सेम थिंग अगर हमने यहाँ पे कुछ लेबल यूज करके ब्रेक किया होता तो वो यहीं पे ब्रेक हो जाता. आई होप दैट्स अंडरस्टूड कि अगर फर्स्ट ऑप्शन ए कब आता वो समझा. लाइक हमने पहले कौन सा प्रीवियस एग्जांपल जब हमने एग्जांपल लिया है यहाँ पे, सो हम कैसे यू नो दो नेस्टेड लूप्स को फर्स्ट लूप को भी आउटर लूप को भी कैसे ब्रेक कर रहे थे. सो इफ यू वुड हैव ब्रोकन द आउटर लूप यूजिंग अ लेबल तो ऑप्शन ए आंसर आता. बट राइट नाउ एज वी आर जस्ट यूजिंग अ सिंगल ब्रेक स्टेटमेंट तो वो सिर्फ इनर लूप को ब्रेक करता है, एंड दैट इज व्हाई आउटर लूप स्टिल गोज ऑन, इसीलिए वो आगे का भी प्रिंट होता है. आई होप दैट्स अंडरस्टूड कि ए और बी ऑप्शन में डिफरेंस क्या है और कौन सा कब आएगा. If you want, I can run it and show you, but otherwise, I hope it's clear. All right, then I think we can move ahead. So the next part is, you know, the other different kinds of loops. We have while loop, and I think we have the same in C++. If you already worked on it. So चाहिए तो I think we can you know just have a simple example here in Kotlin. So for example, you have some variable you know 5, and you just so while का ये क्या है, basically you just have the keyword while, then you have the condition in round brackets, and then you have your curly braces where you will put the code. So while you know the numbers say the condition is कि जब तक number is greater than, I don't really understand why this is happening. So let's say we have this while the number is greater than 0, you just go on printing hello. ठीक है, बस print hello करो, मेरे को 5 बार hello print करना है तो वो करो. एंड अभी एट एवरी पॉइंट ना यू डिक्रीज द नंबर बाय 1, तो एक पॉइंट पे तो वो 0 होने ही वाला है, तो वो ग्रेटर लेस देन 0 हो ही जाएगा. तो उसके बाद यू डोंट वांट टू रन इट वंस इट इज इक्वल टू 0, हमको बस ग्रेटर देन 0 ही चाहिए. वी डोंट इवन वांट इक्वल टू 0, तो एक पॉइंट पे तो इट विल बिकम 0, सो एट दैट पॉइंट इट विल स्टॉप. सो बेसिकली दिस इज व्हाइल लूप के while condition, जब तक condition valid है, go on running all the code that is given in the curly brackets. So this was a normal while loop. Similarly, we do have a do while loop के पहले एक see while loop में possible है कि अगर मेरा number यहाँ पे 0 होता तो you know it won't run at all. तो एक भी बार कोड ही नहीं रन करेगा, कुछ आउटपुट ही नहीं आएगा. So what do while loop does is, what do while there is another loop called do while loop, and what it will do is it will make sure कि loop at least एक बार तो काम कर ही रहा है. Now यहाँ पे अभी कंडीशन आएगा कि आई वांट नंबर ग्रेटर देन 0. So यहाँ पे अभी उसको when it is entering the loop for the first time ना, उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि number is greater than 0 or not. It has to make sure कि वो एक बार run करे, and उसके बाद it will check it कि do I have to run the code again or not. So this is the basic difference between. So here you can see कि यहाँ पे एक बार तो print हुआ even though the number is 0 and our condition is greater than 0. But we have said कि नहीं, we want to run it first and then check the condition कि आगे run करना है कि नहीं. So these are the basic loops: for loop, while loop, do while loop. I think this is similar, in all the most languages like C++. I think it is the same. We have it in Java as well. So now there is one different kind of loop, like not exactly a loop, but when you want to repeat things. So there is another statement in Kotlin. There is another loop in Kotlin that allows you to do that, which is a repeat statement. Java languages में नहीं होता है, but it just says कि इतनी बार repeat करो the number of code. You just use the statement repeat, and then you give it the number of times that you want to run it, and it will just say कि इतनी बार ये block of code को run करो. I think we'll just print hello 5 times again as well, just to. So we have repeat, and you just tell it I want to run it 5 times. So what it will do is whatever block of code, like whatever you put in this brackets now, will be run 5 times. So I just say I want to print hello 5 times for some reason. It will just repeat the entire block of code for 5 times, and it will print hello 5 times. Was that clear? Like all the different kinds of loop, any loop that you want me to go through again, for, while, do while, or the repeat statement, or the repeat loop, anything. Just yes or no in the chat. Yeah, clear. So I think that was the end. This was everything, like the basics of Kotlin. So what we've covered so far is what are the variables. We have mutable and immutable, which is defined using val and var. Remember that, val and var. Val is immutable and var is mutable. Then we have different data types. Then we went through conditional statements. We went through functions, and then we covered for loops, while loops, do while, and repeat. And you do have break and continue that can be used along with labels. You can use break statement standalone, but you can, if you want to break multiple loops, you can use it along with labels. Now labels wala part is thoda tricky. You can cover that once you get a practice of that, you will get the hold of that. But okay, I think like this was essentially basics of Kotlin that you'll learn in every language initially. I hope that was clear. कोई भी डाउट है तो अभी डाल दो. We can take it अभी के अभी जितना भी अभी किया है. If you are trying to run a code, कुछ error आ रहा है या कुछ doubt है, नहीं समझ रहा है, you can put it in the chat box right now. If you actually don't have any doubts, you can put it abhi. If see, essentially it is nice कि तुम बाद में groups पे पूछो या DM करके पूछो, उससे अच्छा भी meet में पूछ लो. So there is a possibility कि अगर कुछ problem है तो I can run the code and show it to you, or something else, or there are a lot of people who can clear your doubts. नहीं है तो एक बार chat box में डाल दो, so we can move on with the session. The next part is going to be object oriented programming in Kotlin. So if you don't have doubts with this section, we can move on to the next one. So बस chats में डाल दो, एक बार के नहीं है doubts. Just a few yeses or nos will also do. Yeah. So I think we can move ahead. Labels don't really need to be only for loops. As I said, वो जो for each वाला statement था, वहाँ पे हमने फॉर ईच में हमने एक एक्चुअली फंक्शन पास किया था. फॉर ईच इज अ फंक्शन जिसको हमने बोला था कि इट विल बी डिफाइंड यूजिंग दिस लेबल. तो ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है कि यू कैन जस्ट यूज इट विथ लूप्स. उसका और भी काफ़ी काम है. फॉर एनी एक्सप्रेशन यू कैन डिफाइन के ये लूप. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर इफ एल्स स्टेटमेंट है तो उसको भी तुम दे सकते हो एज फार एज the label in nested loops is only used to break both. It can be used to break one of the loops too. If you see, like the thing is, अभी if the outer loops break, उसके अंदर के जितने भी loops है, those will be broken. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि you'll just break outer loop and अंदर के चलेंगे. That is not possible. So if you just want to break one loop, ना, you can just put normal break statement and it will work. वहाँ पे you don't really need to use labels, but yeah, you can use label to break one loop as well.
Hello. Towards the end of this session, I request you to wait for 5 to 10 minutes as we have some important announcement to make regarding the study jams. So now Shivam will be starting with object-oriented programming. Over to you,
Good
Shivam.
evening. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. We will take a look at object-oriented programming, that's OOPS. First, we will take a look at classes and object. तो पहले देखते हैं कि classes and object क्या होते हैं. तो classes is a template of object and class is a user-defined blueprint or prototype for which objects are created. And it represents a set of properties or methods that are common to all object upon type. तो समझते हैं पहले कि क्लासेस क्या होता है और ऑब्जेक्ट क्या होता है. तो एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं कि पर्सन, एक समझते पर्सन एक क्लास है. तो पर्सन हैज एट्रीब्यूट्स सच एज नेम, एज, जेंडर, ऑक्यूपेशन. एंड पर्सन हैव फंक्शनैलिटी सच एज वॉक, ही कैन वॉक, he or she can walk, eat, sleep or work. So in Kotlin we call attributes as data members and functionalities as functions. So when this person is a class, but we want person is a class, and when we call some person, like if you're calling me, so my name is different from Priya's name, my age is different, maybe different from Priya's age, gender is different, and occupation may be different. So we need to create object for classes. So let's take a look at objects. Now we have two objects here, that is instance of classes. The first object is Ishan and his age is 20, gender is male, and occupation is Android developer. This is instance of class person, whereas the second instance of class person is Priya, whose name is Priya, age 25, gender female, and occupation doctor. Both of these person possesses same functionalities, that they can walk, eat, sleep, and work. Both of them have name, age, gender, and occupation. तो क्लास के जो कुछ एट्रीब्यूट्स है और फंक्शनैलिटीज है, हमें पता है कि ये रहने वाले कि हर पर्सन का नेम रहेगा, एज रहेगा, जेंडर रहेगा, ऑक्यूपेशन रहेगा, और इसका कोई फंक्शनैलिटीज रहेंगी कुछ भी, जैसे यहाँ walk, eat, sleep, work है. Another example is like car, where यहाँ जैसे क्लास कार है, तो क्लास इज a template of object, and then how to create class. We use class keyword to create class, and there are different properties of class such as brand, parent company, color, and CC. We can define them by using where keyword, and जो प्रिया ने पहले बताया where and val में का फर्क. And then there are objects, that is instance of class. We have different cars. When we go to buy a car, we don't say like give me any car. Like we need to specify something like I need a Nano, or I need a Jaguar I-Pace. So this class of car have two objects, such as here the first object is Jaguar I-Pace with color black and 0cc, whereas other object is Tata Nano Yellow, color yellow, and CC is 624. Then how to create an object? We have already created class. So class have 4 attributes like brand, parent company, color, and CC. So while defining an object, we need to use an constructor. कंस्ट्रक्टर क्या है वो बाद में देखेंगे डिटेल में थोड़ा। यहाँ पे जो नैनो की जो एट्रीब्यूट्स है वो चेंज होने वाली नहीं है, तो अपन ने यहाँ वैर कीवर्ड का यूज किया एंड देन वी आर for defining different properties of that object, we are writing this as object name dot data member. Here name of the object is nano and name of data member is brand for first. So nano dot first is Tata and nano dot parent company Tata, then color yellow, and nano dot cc is equals to 624. And then we can print these attributes as name as nano, brand, nano's brand, as such. And then after running this code, we can see the output as, while name nano it's hard coded, and then brand nano dot brand, we have set nano dot brand as Tata, so we got brand is equals to Tata, and then parent company is nano dot parent company, so again that's Tata, and here the color is yellow. Now we will see constructor क्या होता है। तो कंस्ट्रक्टर, जहाँ पहले क्लास कार का कंस्ट्रक्टर, तो अपन ने पहले क्लास कार के एट्रीब्यूट्स ऐसे डिफाइन किए कि वेयर ब्रांड एंड देन वेयर पेरेंट कंपनी, वेयर कलर, वेयर सीसी। बट ये बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा कोड हो गया सिर्फ एक क्लास कार को डिफाइन करने के लिए। तो पहले कंस्ट्रक्टर एक इज अ स्पेशल फंक्शन एंड इट्स डिफाइंड बाय यूजिंग टू पैरेंथेसिस after the class name. You can specify the properties inside the parenthesis like passing parameter into a regular function. तो ये क्या बोला है हम समझते हैं। तो पहले इसमें विदाउट कंस्ट्रक्टर अपन ने ऐसा यूज किया कि वेयर ब्रांड का प्रॉपर्टीज, देन वेयर पेरेंट कंपनी, कलर एंड सीसी, these are 4 line of code, but by using constructor we can reduce in 1 line. Here we are doing like class car, and then where brand, then data type, the brand data type of brand is string, then data type of parent company is string again, color is string, and cc is int. Remember to specify the type of the property and variable. In without constructor part, if we are like, यहाँ पे अपन ऐसा कर रहे हैं कि कोटेशन मार्क यूज कर रहे हैं, तो यहाँ से पता चलता है कि ये स्ट्रिंग है, और यहाँ पे नंबर यूज कर रहे हैं, यहाँ से पता चलता है ये इंट है। अपन इसका ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं कि यहाँ पे ऐसा लिख दे ब्रांड देन सेमीकोलन एंड देन स्ट्रिंग, सो इससे ब्रांड सिर्फ स्ट्रिंग ही एक्सेप्ट करेगा। तो अब ऑब्जेक्ट कैसे क्रिएट करने कंस्ट्रक्टर से। तो पहला ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट कर रहे अपन नैनो 1, and here we are passing all these parameters in this constructor. So the name of nano, like brand of nano is Tata, parent company is also Tata, color is yellow, and C6 is 24. And here in iPace, the brand name is Jaguar, parent company Tata, color black, and CC 0, as this is electric car. किसी को कुछ डाउट हो इतने में तो पूछ सकते हो। समझा के इतना आसान था वैसे। Okay, so I can move ahead. So प्रिया ने अभी तुम लोग को क्लास फंक्शंस समझाया. नाउ फंक्शंस समझाया. आई विल tell you how is like class functions work. Here, class car have brand, parent company, color, and CC. We can also add function in that class. The function is like drive, and will print room room. So object is like, this is the instance of class car and properties at parameter. So nano1 is the first instance of car, and these are properties of that nano. We are calling drive function that we have written here by using dot operator nano1 dot drive, and we got output. Again, like हमने पहले वो एक देखा था एग्जाम्पल पर्सन का, जिसके कुछ एट्रीब्यूट्स थे, फंक्शनैलिटीज थे. तो अपन देखते कि अभी यहाँ पे कैसे ये फंक्शंस यूज होगा. पहले अपन ने फंक्शंस देखा नहीं था, सिर्फ एट्रीब्यूट दिए थे. तो पर्सन हैज नेम, एज, जेंडर एंड ऑक्यूपेशन, एंड ही कैन वॉक. सो एंड देन फंक्शन मेन में अपन ने ऑब्जेक्ट का, ये क्लास का इंस्टेंस बनाया जिसको नाम दिया एस, जिसका नाम शिवम है, एज 20, जेंडर मेल, एंड ऑक्यूपेशन स्टूडेंट. सो वी कैन print the name or any of these attributes by yes dot name, and then we can do like, we can access this function walk by doing yes dot walk. तो ये अपना एग्जाम्पल था जिसमें पर्सन का फंक्शन डिफाइन किया था, और यहाँ पे अपन ने उसको जो फंक्शन को कॉल किया था. वी कैन ऑल्सो राइट अनदर फंक्शन लाइक फंक्शन sleep, and then we can print anything. We can write anything here, but for simplification I am just writing the print statement. So I am writing sleeping. We can also use any of these attributes, such as like sleeping from my age, like sleeping from plus age, and here's dot. So I am sleeping from 20. Yeah, we should add years here. So sleeping from 20 years. This is how we can write function and call them from main function or any other function. So next part is किसी को कुछ डाउट है क्या उसमें यहाँ तक? ये समझा? Okay. Okay, so next part is pillars of OOPS, like object-oriented programming. There are 4 pillars of OOPS: inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. तो OOPS जो कुछ है ये इन पे ही खड़ा हुआ है, एंड अपन इसमें से एक एक को देखते पहले कि इनहेरिटेंस क्या है, पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म क्या है, बाद में एब्स्ट्रैक्शन, इनकैप्सुलेशन क्या है. तो इनहेरिटेंस, तो रियल लाइफ में जैसे हम हमारे पेरेंट्स के जो कुछ एट्रीब्यूट्स, प्रॉपर्टी है वो इनहेरिट करते हैं, वैसे ही in Kotlin it is possible to inherit class properties and function from one class to another. तो जो इनहेरिट करता है उसे कहते हैं सब क्लास, दैट इज चाइल्ड, एंड जिनसे इनहेरिट करते हैं उन्हें कहते हैं सुपर क्लास, दैट इज पेरेंट. In Kotlin, we also use like child-parent analogy also. Like this is example when your mom is a printer, like all of them look similar because they should look the same since they inherit the class, not class parent attributes. I hope ये समझा होगा. तो पेरेंट एट्रीब्यूट्स, तो इनहेरिटेंस का यूज कैसे करना है. तो जो कोई पेरेंट फंक्शन होगा या पेरेंट क्लास होगा उसके जगह अपन को यूज करना है ओपन कीवर्ड. तो यूज द ओपन कीवर्ड इन फ्रंट ऑफ सुपर क्लास और पेरेंट टू मेक दिस द क्लास अदर क्लास शुड इनहेरिट प्रॉपर्टीज एंड फंक्शन फ्रॉम. व्हाइल चाइल्ड का to inherit the class, specify the name of subclass followed by the colon and then the name of the superclass. तो यहाँ पे अपन फर्स्ट एग्जांपल देखते हैं इनहेरिटेंस का. तो यहाँ पे पहला पेरेंट क्लास है ओपन. वी आर यूजिंग कीवर्ड ओपन हियर. ओपन क्लास पेरेंट क्लास and here we are specifying the data member of my parent class as x is equals to 5, and then we are inheriting the properties of parent class to child class by using this colon and then writing the name of parent class after the child class. So class child class, my child class, colon my parent class, then function my function and print x. Here now x is now inherited from the super class. तो x की जो भी वैल्यू है वो वही होगी जो पेरेंट में है. अगर यहाँ पे अपन ने अलग वैल्यू डिफाइन की चाइल्ड में तो जो चाइल्ड में है वो रहेगी, लेकिन अगर कोई डिफाइन नहीं किया है तो जो पेरेंट में है वही रहेगा. तो फंक्शन में वी आर क्रिएटिंग एन ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ माई चाइल्ड क्लास and then we are using my function. तो पहले value of my object, the name of this object is my object and it is the instance of class my child class. Here we are calling my function for my object which is instance of my child class. So here we can see the output is 5. Though we are calling my child class, but it is inheriting properties from my parent class, so output is 5. तो यहाँ पे एक इनहेरिटेंस का और एक एग्जांपल है, तो इसको रन करके देखते हैं पहले. ओके, एक मिनट, इनहेरिटेंस का नहीं है. हाँ, ये इनहेरिटेंस का है, तो इसको रन करते हैं. यहाँ पे एरर आ रहा है कुछ, तो भी कोई बता सकता है एरर क्यों आ रहा है? हाँ, ये तो एकदम सिंपल था, ओपन यूज करना है, बता दिया आप तेजस ने. तो इस पे रन करते हैं. तो ये रन हो गया. तो अभी देखते हैं कि कैसे काम किया. तो यहाँ पे अपन ने एक ओपन क्लास क्रिएट किया एनिमल, जो कि एक पेरेंट क्लास है. तो ये एक पेरेंट क्लास है which is equal to super class. And यहाँ पे हमने कुछ open word is missing, right? And then there are some attributes as name, age. देखो यहाँ पे मैं पहले बता रहा था तुम लोग को कि स्ट्रिंग का अगर अपन ने यहाँ पे स्ट्रिंग यूज नहीं किया तो भी वो स्ट्रिंग ही लेगा, क्योंकि अपन ने यहाँ डिफाइन कर दिया कि कोटेशन मार्क. यहाँ पे ऐसे अगर स्ट्रिंग किया then if we run it the same output. और यहाँ अगर int यूज भी नहीं किया तो भी वो int ही लेगा, क्योंकि अपन ने इज इक्वल्स टू ऐसा डेटा टाइप कर दिया है तो वो अपने आप समझ लेगा कि इसमें क्या डालना है। तो यहाँ पे एनिमल के कुछ फंक्शन है, जैसे हर एनिमल वॉक कर सकता है, रन कर सकता है, कोई भी एक फंक्शन तुम लोग बताओ। अपन ये पहले कंप्लीट कर लेते। तो क्लास कैट, वी आर इनहेरिटिंग cat properties from animal class, and then just ये कुछ काम का नहीं है। Then we are creating first instance of cat, then name of cat is p, or we can name it anything. Age is 5 and we are calling the walk function for cat. अब तुम लोग बताओ कुछ तो भी एक फंक्शन, अपन उसका करके देखते हैं। कुछ एनिमल के लिए कोई भी एक फंक्शन, eat, yeah, function eat, print ln and eating, या तो यहाँ पे अगर अपन ने c डॉट ईट किया तो ईटिंग आ रहा है। लेकिन अगर मैं अभी कैट में वो डिफाइन करूँ तो अब मैं कर रहा हूँ, फिर से फंक्शन डिफाइन कर रहा हूँ, फंक्शन ईट एंड देन प्रिंट ln नॉट ईटिंग। तो देखते हैं अभी क्या होता है। ईट हाइड्स मेंबर ऑफ सुपर टाइप एनिमल एंड नीड टू ओवरराइड मॉडिफायर। तो अभी इसको बोल रहा है कि ओवरराइड करो, तो ओवरराइड करते हैं। अब देखो ये बोल रहा है ईट इन एनिमल इज फाइनल एंड कैन नॉट बी ओवर रिटर्न। तो ये तो बोला कि फाइनल है, तो इसका क्या करें। तो इसको करते हैं, ओपन किया तो ये अभी दो एनिमल क्लास में ईट फंक्शन है, लेकिन अपन ने फिर से एक फंक्शन बनाया ईट जो कैट क्लास में है। तो अगर कैट क्लास के ऑब्जेक्ट ने उसको कॉल किया तो वही फंक्शन रन करेगा जो कैट क्लास के फंक्शंस में है। लेकिन इसके लिए अपन को क्या क्या ऐड करना पड़ा, पहले तो इसको ओपन बनाना पड़ा। जो अपन ने पहले देखा था कि इनहेरिटेंस करने के लिए ओपन करना पड़ता है, तो क्लास हो या फंक्शन दोनों जगह ओपन यूज करना पड़ेगा। एंड देन यहाँ पे लिखना पड़ेगा कि वो फंक्शन ओवरराइड कर रहा है कि क्योंकि वो पहले से था और यहाँ हम फिर से उसको डिफाइन कर रहे हैं। तो ये समझा। किसी को कुछ डाउट होगा इसमें तो पूछ सकते हो। ओके, किसी को कुछ डाउट नहीं है, आगे चले। इसमें कुछ और करना हो या कुछ और करके दिखाओ, ऐसा कुछ होगा तो वो भी कर सकते हैं। हाँ, अनन्या ने बोला था कलर, वो भी करके देखते हैं। तो यहाँ पे वेर कलर एंड आइदर वी कैन डू दिस और वेर कलर स्ट्रिंग एंड देन दिस। तो इसमें ऐसा हुआ, ऐसा करने के बाद ये जो कलर है वो सिर्फ स्ट्रिंग ही लेगा। मतलब उसको अगर आप बाद में अपन करके देखते, यहाँ पे एक बार यहाँ पे सी डॉट कलर इज इक्वल टू 5 और मैं रन करके दिख रहा हूँ तो यहाँ पे एरर आ रहा है। तो एरर क्या है देखते हैं, कॉन्फ्लिक्टिंग डिक्लेरेशन पब्लिक फाइनल वैर कलर स्ट्रिंग वाइल पब्लिक फाइनल वैर कलर स्ट्रिंग। ये बोल रहा है कि जो यहाँ पे ऊपर जो था जो अपन ने लिखा है ये स्ट्रिंग बोल रहा है और तुम लोग यहाँ पे इंट दे रहे हो। तो क्या कर सकते हैं, कलर को यहाँ से अपन इंट करते हैं, कलर इंट तो होता नहीं तो भी एक बार रन करते हैं, फिर से एरर आ रहा है, पब्लिक फाइनल वैर कलर स्ट्रिंग पब्लिक। ओके, ये अपन ने 2 बार डिफाइन किया है, तो ये तो पहले निकाल देते हैं। फिर से एरर, टाइप मिसमैच, इंफर टाइप इज स्ट्रिंग बट इंट वाज एक्सपेक्टेड। ओके, तो यहाँ पे अपन ने क्या किया, मैंने बोला था पहले कि ये स्ट्रिंग है, तो अगर सिर्फ अपन इतना ही करें ये, तो भी ये स्ट्रिंग लेगा। और यहाँ पे अपन ने यहाँ बोला कि इंट है और यहाँ दिया स्ट्रिंग, तो ये कंफ्लिक्ट हो गया, तो इसके लिए अपन को इंट देना पड़ेगा, 0 दे दिया और अभी ये सही से रन करेगा। लेकिन अपन को आउटपुट में कुछ दिखा नहीं, तो वो भी देख लेते हैं कि प्रिंट एलन सी डॉट कलर, तो 5 आ गया कलर। ये समझा? इसमें ये फिर से बताना है, डाउट है इसमें कुछ? Okay, so we can now move to next part, that is polymorphism. Polymorphism means many, and poly means many and morph means form. So it is the method that behave differently based on objects. तो ये सुनील ग्रोवर ही है, अलग अलग इसमें अलग अलग दिख रहा है, लेकिन ये अलग नहीं है। तो polymorphism, we have different forms of the method that exhibit different behavior based on object. तो यहाँ पे देखते हैं, एग्जांपल है कि पहले पेरेंट क्लास है जो अपन ने पहले देखा, यहाँ पे भी इनहेरिटेंस तो यूज होगा ही। सबसे पहला इनहेरिटेंस है, उसके बाद पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म, जो हम इनहेरिटेंस में सीखेंगे कि पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म कैसे यूज करना है। तो ओपन क्लास शेप है कोई भी शेप जिसका एरिया का डेटा टाइप डबल है और रिटर्न 0.0 करेगा। अपन ने इस शेप का फर्स्ट ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया जिसका नाम है सर्कल, एंड क्लास सर्कल इज इनहेरिटिंग दिस प्रॉपर्टीज फ्रॉम शेप क्लास। एंड सबको एरिया ऑफ सर्कल पता ही होगा जो कि पाई आर स्क्वायर है। तो अपन को ये ओवरराइट करना पड़ेगा फंक्शन जो कि एरिया का है सर्कल के लिए फिर से, और जो रिटर्न करेगा, मैथ एक लाइब्रेरी है कोटलिन में, जैसे सी में भी है, तो मैथ डॉट पाई इंटू रेडियस। सिमिलरली चाइल्ड टू जो कि स्क्वायर है, उसका एरिया अपन पता है साइड स्क्वायर। So here we are overriding this function area because here the area function for shape is not defined well, and we can't really tell the area of any shape without knowing its other attribute properties. So here area of square is side into side. Here we are creating the first instance of shape circle. We are passing parameters of side and radius in circle and square and circle respectively. Circle has radius of 4 and square has side of 4, and these are two instances of shape, namely circle and square, and then we are printing the area of circle and square. For side is equals to 4, the area of square is 4 square, that is 16, and for circle with radius 4, area is this like 15.26, that is pi into 16. We can again do इनहेरिटेंस, अपन देख रहे थे पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म। तो यहाँ पे वो सेम एग्जांपल है। तो यहाँ पे अपन कुछ चेंज करके देखते हैं। पहले सर्कल का 5 करके देखते हैं। 5.0 अपन को यहाँ पे अगर अपन ने 5 किया तो क्या होता है पहले देखते हैं। तो यहाँ पे सर्कल में अपन पैरामीटर भेजे 5 एंड द इन इंटीजर लिटरल डज नॉट कन्फर्म टू द एक्सपेक्टेड टाइप डबल। तो यहाँ पे अपन ने पहले बोला था कि सर्कल का जो पैरामीटर रहेगा वो डबल रहेगा और अपन डाल रहे यहाँ पे इंटीजर। तो यहाँ पे इसको कर देते हैं डबल एंड देन अगेन वी आर राइटिंग इट। तो एरिया ऑफ सर्कल इज नाउ दिस वन एंड एरिया ऑफ स्क्वायर इज दिस वन। ओके फाइन। तो आगे एब्स्ट्रैक्शन है, ये समझा? इसमें कुछ डाउट है? किसी ने अगर C++ में पढ़ा होगा तो सेम है पूरा, मतलब कुछ ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं है। जावा में पढ़ा होगा तो थोड़े बहुत डिफरेंस लैंग्वेज वाइज तो रहेंगे। ये समझा? Okay, so we can now move ahead. Abstraction. So next pillar of OOPS is abstraction. Abstraction is used to hide background details or any unnecessary implementation about the data so that user only see the required information. तो is one of the most important and essential feature of OOPS. तो यहाँ पे कार है, तो कार कैसे चलती है अपन को कुछ पता नहीं, मतलब कार के अंदर का मैकेनिज्म जो कुछ है वो हर कोई ड्राइवर नहीं जानता। मोस्टली ड्राइवर नहीं जानते कि कार में क्या चल रहा है, अंदर क्या होगा। लेकिन सिर्फ हमें क्या पता है कि हमें कार स्टार्ट करनी है, गियर डालना है और कार चलने लगेगी। तो बट विदाउट एब्स्ट्रैक्शन लाइक हमें सब पता करना होगा कि कार का इंटरनल मैकेनिज्म कैसे है, वो टॉर्क कैसे जनरेट करता है एंड पेट्रोल या जो कुछ फ्यूल है उसका कन्वर्जन काइनेटिक एनर्जी में कैसे होता है। तो एब्स्ट्रैक्शन में हमें इससे कुछ लेना देना नहीं है कि उसका बैकग्राउंड डिटेल्स और अननेसेसरी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन जो कुछ है उससे हमें कुछ लेना देना ही नहीं। जैसे अपन ने थोड़ी देर पहले math.py का यूज किया था यहाँ पे ही, तो यहाँ पे math.py का यूज किया है तो पाई की जो वैल्यू है वो हमें जानने की जरूरत नहीं, वो हम डायरेक्टली यूज कर सकते हैं math.py। ये भी एक तरह का एब्स्ट्रैक्शन ही है। देन नेक्स्ट पार्ट इज इनकैप्सुलेशन। एब्स्ट्रैक्शन का जो एग्जांपल वगैरह है हम इनकैप्सुलेशन और एब्स्ट्रैक्शन का साथ में देखेंगे। तो इनकैप्सुलेशन में it is like a protective shield that prevents the data from being accessed by the code outside the shield. तो यहाँ पे एग्जांपल ही देखते हैं कि इनकैप्सुलेशन का कैसा है। इनकैप्सुलेशन के लिए अलग अलग एक्सेस मॉडिफायर यूज कर सकते हैं, जैसे प्राइवेट, प्रोटेक्टेड, पब्लिक। और यहाँ पे इनकैप्सुलेशन ये एग्जांपल है पूरा, इसका अभी देखते हैं यहाँ पे इनकैप्सुलेशन कहाँ यूज हुआ है और एब्स्ट्रैक्शन कहाँ यूज हुआ है। तो पहले सबसे पहले अपन ने यूज किया प्राइवेट var नेम स्ट्रिंग। तो यहाँ पे जो नेम है वो प्राइवेट है स्टूडेंट क्लास के लिए, तो सिर्फ स्टूडेंट क्लास के जो फंक्शंस है या कुछ भी है वो इसको एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। सिमिलरली फॉर द एज which only can be accessed by the function of class student। तो बाहर का कोई भी क्लास से ये फंक्शन या ये डेटा मेंबर्स को एक्सेस नहीं कर सकते। तो यहाँ पे ये गेटर्स एंड दिस आर कॉमनली नोन एज गेटर्स एंड सेटर्स। तो पब्लिक फंक्शन गेट नेम जो कि स्ट्रिंग है, तो वो जो रिटर्न करेगा वो अपन को यहाँ पे स्ट्रिंग मतलब जो कुछ डेटा टाइप है वहां पे लिखना पड़ता है। तो रिटर्न दिस डॉट नेम, तो इसका जो नेम है, जो इसका ऑब्जेक्ट बनेगा, उस ऑब्जेक्ट का नेम ये गेट नेम पास करेगा। जिस ऑब्जेक्ट का नेम सेट करने के लिए सेट नेम यूज होगा, गेट एज एंड देन सेट एज। तो यहाँ पे अपन फर्स्ट ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं क्लास स्टूडेंट का। उसके बाद उसको सेट नेम कर रहे हैं शिवम। We are using setters here to set name, and then set age is equals to set age in bracket 20, and then we are printing the name. Then we are printing name first and then age. ये पहले ही प्रिया ने बताया कि ये कैसे यूज करना है। अपन ने पहले एक दो स्लाइड में प्लस यूज किया था, जैसे बहुत पीछे जाने दो, मैं ऐसे बता। यहाँ पे पहले अपन ने यूज किया था योर नेम इज एंड देन प्लस किया था एंड देन यस डॉट गेट नेम। तो यहाँ पे डॉलर का यूज नहीं किया था, लेकिन ये ऐसा कर सकते हैं कोटलिन में। तो यहाँ पे अभी इनकैप्सुलेशन का हुआ और एब्स्ट्रैक्शन का हुआ। तो इनकैप्सुलेशन इज लाइक गेटर्स एंड सेटर्स पार्ट इज इनकैप्सुलेशन। तो ये एस ऑब्जेक्ट जो कि एक स्टूडेंट है जिसका नाम शिवम है, तो शिवम का नेम एक्सेस करने, एस का नेम सेट करने के लिए हम डायरेक्टली नहीं कर सकते। डायरेक्टली एस डॉट नेम इज इक्वल टू शिवम नहीं कर सकते, एस डॉट सेट नेम करना पड़ेगा और सेट एज करना पड़ेगा by using setters, and then for printing this info we need to use getters. So like your name is s dot get name. This is the getter for name and this is getter for age. तो ये हुआ इनकैप्सुलेशन। और एब्स्ट्रैक्शन इज लाइक हमें कुछ इस सेटर और गेटर का यूज करते टाइम हमें लेना देना नहीं है कि सेटर और गेटर ये कैसे कर रहे हैं। तो डायरेक्टली अपन सेट कर रहे हैं यस डॉट सेट एज 20, और इसके पीछे क्या हो रहा है ये हमें पता नहीं है और हमें जानना भी नहीं है। तो इसको कैसे एब्स्ट्रैक्शन, तो इसको अपन करके भी देखते थोड़ा। ये देखो इनकैप्सुलेशन एब्स्ट्रैक्शन का ये है। तो सबसे पहले अपन ने प्राइवेट किया था और ये अपन ट्राई करते कि यस डॉट नेम, पहले अपन पहले ऐसा ही कर रहे थे, यस डॉट नेम इज इक्वल्स टू शिवम। तो इसको रन करते हैं। तो ये बोल रहा है कैन नॉट एक्सेस नेम, इट इज प्राइवेट इन स्टूडेंट। ओके, तो अपन ने ये प्राइवेट कर दिया था स्टूडेंट क्लास में, तो अभी इसको एक्सेस नहीं कर सकते। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। जैसे किसी का इंस्टाग्राम अकाउंट प्राइवेट है तो उसके फॉलोअर्स कोई भी ना देख पाए, इसके लिए ये यूज होगा। तो अगर ये प्राइवेट की जगह मैंने प्राइवेट हटा दिया और नेम किया तो ये रन होगा। नो, क्या एक्सेप्शन इज थ्रेड मेन गेट नेम। ओके, तो यहाँ पे अपन ने सिर्फ ये सेटर्स के लिए नहीं गेटर्स के लिए भी यूज किया है। सो यहाँ पे एरर आ रहा है। तो पहले ये प्राइवेट ही रहने देते हैं यहाँ पे, और नई एक वैर लिखेंगे जिसका नाम होगा नेम, और उसको ऐसे रखते हो और ये बाकी चीजें भी कमेंट कर देंगे। और यहाँ पे नेम हाँ, यहाँ पे नेम सेट हो गया, एरर नहीं आया। लेकिन अभी इसको प्रिंट करके देखते हैं। प्रिंट ln s डॉट नेम, तो अभी शिवम प्रिंट होना चाहिए। और देखो शिवम प्रिंट हो गया, लेकिन यहाँ पे जब प्राइवेट था, जब नेम कैन नॉट बी एक्सेस इज प्राइवेट इन स्टूडेंट, तो यहाँ पे जो हमने लिखा है वो हो नहीं रहा है क्योंकि यहाँ पे ये प्राइवेट है। तो ये करने के लिए वही सेट नेम एंड गेट नेम यूज करो और इस तरीके से अपन इसका नेम और एज सेट कर ले। इसमें कोई डाउट है? ये लास्ट पॉइंट है, पूरा आसान।
जो क्लास में हम लोग अपना डेटा एब्स्ट्रैक्शन वाले एलिमेंट्स डिक्लेयर करेंगे, उसके चाइल्ड क्लास में हम लोग को एक्सेस कर सकते हैं क्या?
देखो अपन करके देखते हैं। तो नाम, तुम्हारा नाम सचित बात कर रहा था ना?
हाँ,
हाँ, तो सचित ये अपना एग्जाम्पल है। ओके, तो बताओ तुम क्या करना चाहते हो?
लाइक स्टूडेंट को हम लोग ओपन क्लास बना देंगे और उससे एक क्लास डिराइव करेंगे।
ओके, तो स्टूडेंट को ओपन क्लास बनाते हैं। उससे एक क्लास बनाना है। ओके, तो क्लास बनाते स्टूडेंट, तो प्राइमरी स्टूडेंट बना देते। प्राइमरी नाम रखता हूँ और जो इनहेरिट कर रहा है स्टूडेंट
क्लास।
ओके,
हाँ, और अभी हम लोग को अगर
अभी
कोई प्राइवेट एलिमेंट एक्सेस करना हो फ्रॉम द पैरेंट क्लास, तो वो कर सकते हैं क्या स्टूडेंट में यूज? लाइक कुछ फंक्शन
जैसे
होगा
प्राइमरी में तुम कहना चाहते हो कि प्राइमरी से अपन को यूज करना है कुछ यहाँ से।
हाँ, लेट्स से नेम यूज करना है।
ओके, तो यहाँ से जैसे अपन ने किया कि कोई फंक्शन ही बना लेते हैं।
फंक्शन, यस।
हाँ, तो फंक्शन नाम सचित रख देते हैं। सही है स्पेलिंग? ओके, तो फंक्शन सचित है और यहाँ से तुम्हें करना है कि इसका ऊपर वाले का नेम एक्सेस करना है। ओके, तो सचित, तो पहले तो बात अपन को यहाँ पे सचित को डिफाइन, सचित का ऑब्जेक्ट बनाना पड़ेगा।
यस।
प्राइमरी का ऑब्जेक्ट बनाना पड़ेगा, तो वेर p इज इक्वल्स टू प्राइमरी। तो यहाँ पे बन गया प्राइमरी का ऑब्जेक्ट। और फंक्शन सचित में अपन लिखते प्रिंट ln एंड देन यहाँ का कुछ तो भी यूज करना है, तो प्रिंट ln नहीं करते अपन, इसको सेट कर देते नेम इज इक्वल्स टू सचित। ओके, तो यहाँ पे करना है p डॉट सचित। तो यहाँ पे बोल रहा है कि कैन नॉट एक्सेस, क्योंकि ये जो प्राइवेट है ये प्राइवेट किया है अपन ने नेम, तो ये एक्सेस नहीं होगा चाइल्ड क्लास में भी। इसके लिए और कुछ एक्सेस मॉडिफायर है कोटलिन में, जैसे प्रोटेक्टेड वगैरह, उसके यूज से अपन कर सकते हैं। लेकिन प्राइवेट अगर अपन ने एक्सेस मॉडिफायर यूज किया हो तो नहीं होगा।
ओके, थैंक यू।
एनी अदर डाउट? तो ये अच्छी बात है यूज करना प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी एंड उसके बाद पब्लिक गेटर्स एंड सेटर्स। अगर कोई डाउट ना हो तो यहाँ पे उप्स खत्म होता है। एंड नाउ आई हैंड ओवर टू प्रसाद।
Yeah, thank you so much, Shivam. It was a really informative session. So let me present my screen now. So like the main the session has ended, but I would like to share with you what we are planning about this study jams in the coming sessions. So what we did today was we did the first unit, that is Kotlin basics, और इसका हमने अभी तक सिर्फ फर्स्ट पाथवे देखा, that is introduction to Kotlin. Abhi, from the next study jam onwards, that is on the 5th, that is day after tomorrow, we will actually start with Android development. Screen visible hai na?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So from the next study jam onwards on the 5th, we will be starting with Android development. So for that, I request that you all download and keep ready your Android Studios. So how to download Android Studios? तुम सीधा ऐसे लिख सकते Android Studio download. And the first link, which is by developer.android.com, ये official link है actually. यहाँ पे you will get the option to download Android Studios. यहाँ से you can download and then install. अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम आता है, I will also share a YouTube link for the same. So coming back to here, so our plan is that we won't actually go whatever, like हम पूरा इसके according नहीं जा रहे. What we are planning is that we will actually build an app here. So whatever features are given here, that is create your first app, they are introducing you to Android Studios. We will do that. In basic layout, उन्होंने कुछ तो मतलब उनका अपना ही ऐप है, that creating a birthday app. So we won't actually be doing this, but we will cover this topic into the app which we are building. So we are planning to build a news app. जैसे user के पास एक login sign up होगा, he will be able to do that, and then once he goes to the dashboard, he'll get to see all the like latest news दिखेंगे उसको. So we will be building this app with you in these study jams. And in every session we will like उसको नए features हम add करते जाएंगे. So in the next यहाँ पे we are just still covering unit 1. So in the next study jams we will be starting with login and sign up pages. So हम उसका layout बनाएंगे and adding a button में we will like accept the user email password in the app. So that is how we will proceed. So coming to the doubts part, in case you face any error while installing Android Studios or anywhere, कभी भी तुम्हें कोई doubt हो Kotlin में, we have a channel on Slack. I hope you are aware of that. If not, then please join that. I will share its link on the group. And वहाँ पे you will see a hashtag Google Kotlin channel. Hashtag Google Kotlin. This is the channel. So you can join this and ask your doubts over there. All of us from Android core team will be there to answer your doubts. And now for today's session, I request you all to open this site, that is mentimeter.com. I'll put this in the chat. Oh, it is already there. Yeah. Oh yeah, Pankaj also sent the link for the Slack channel, so you can join that. So वहाँ पे you can put the code and give your feedback for today's session. I hope everyone is clear about what. Yeah, so I hope everyone is clear. कोई भी doubt also you can put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask. When will the further study jams conducted? Yeah, so like the duration for this is from 29th of December. Sorry, Yes, from 29th of November to 10th of Jan. So, and every week we will be conducting 1 or 2 study jams. So, इस week का एक हो गया, और now the next one would be on the 5th. And which email ID do we have to use for sign up? You can use any email ID. And yeah, towards the end, that is before the 10th or on the 10th, I will be sending a form on the group. So there you have to give your developer's ID, which I showed in the introduction. And from that, we'll be able to track your progress. And if you have collected all the badges, we can issue you a certificate from GDSE VJTI. We are here only, so you can keep putting your doubts in the chat.